Born on the rich soil of New Orleans, Andrew Young rose to become one of the most influential men of our time. A faithful servant of God, a courageous warrior in the struggle against injustice, and a powerful political leader. His legacy has been intertwined with the transformation of America. We are proud to present to you An Evening with Andrew Young. And now to our host, award-winning author and journalist, Charlayne Hunter Gault.
Thank you and good evening. It is such a pleasure for me to be here tonight. When the History Makers asked me to come from Johannesburg to do this, I didn't hesitate 1 minute because it is an honor for me to honor my friend, Andrew Young. You know, Andrew was born in the rich soil of New Orleans, but it was segregated soil. And yet he rose to become one of the most influential leaders of our time. And so tonight I'm going to ask you to join with me in looking at the life and inspiration of a man who's been an inspiration to all of us.
I was born at the beginning of an era of enormous change. Change so great, it will be called the Second American Revolution.
The modern world was in crisis, and with that crisis came an opportunity for my generation to change America in a way that was good news for all Americans.
We would try to change the world morally. We would redeem the soul of America.
I am Andrew Young.
I am Andrew Young.
I am Andrew Young.
Please join me in welcoming Andrew Young. Once again, welcome, Andy. It's such a pleasure for me to be here in our city, Atlanta, a city I know that we both hold dear. It's hard to think of Atlanta without thinking of Andy Young, and Andy Young without his Atlanta. But you were actually, as I said earlier, born in New Orleans, March 12, 1932. What was it like for you growing up in the 30s and 40s in New Orleans?
Actually, I enjoyed my childhood, and I grew up in a neighborhood that was Little United Nations. There was an Irish grocery store on one corner, an Italian bar on the other. The German-American Bund was on the third corner. And so even as 4 or 5-year-old, I was listening to people Heil Hitler and sing Deutschland über alles. And my father, as a dentist, had a large connection with the Jewish community in the dental supply business. And so I got a very significant political education very early. We talked a lot about what was going on in Europe.
And you understood it?
I don't know whether I understood it, but my father took me to see Jesse Owens in the movie Told News win 4 Olympic gold medals, and Hitler walk out without shaking his hand, refusing to meet him. And he said, see, that's a sickness. That racism's a sickness. You don't get angry with sick people. You help them. You heal them. And he raised me, I think, you know, to don't get mad, get smart.
Well, you know, there's a wonderful scene in your autobiography, An Easy Burden, that is a very good reflection of that family you just described. Let's look at it.
I was born in March 1932 in a New Orleans shotgun-style house. To Andrew Young, a dentist, and Daisy Fuller Young, a former school teacher. Within 2 years, my brother Walter was born, and we were virtually raised together. We were treated as a pair by relatives.
Andrew and Walter.
They'd say. When we were old enough, we would sit in church, or a good part of it, following Sunday school. We used the Pilgrim hymnals, which had both the English and the German hymns.
Oh, yes, hallelujah. Yes, Lord, thank you, Jesus. Amen. Praise him, Lord, praise him.
The congregation intensely disapproved of black praise songs and emotional outbreaks. The only element of the service that reflected the particular culture of the congregation was the inclusion of the Negro spirituals. The choir sang, "Steal away." We ladder. Lord, I want to be a Christian. Steal Away, and other songs of the African-American tradition. In those days of the Great Depression, Jim Crow was the law of the South. And in polite society, we were known as colored people. The attitude of my parents' generation, of our teachers, seemed to be that we should concentrate our efforts on improving the race. And not just improving the level of education, but improving moral behavior. Daddy taught me,
racism is a sickness. You must have compassion for racist whites as you would have compassion for a polio victim. Racism was not a problem with you.
He told me,
it's a problem that they have.
Daddy had a genuine turn the other cheek attitude, although he didn't believe in becoming a victim. Now, Ma and Gran weren't quite so gentle.
Gran!
I said one night while reading of the Old Testament,
There's these boys that come by calling us niggers.
Gran sat up straight.
If they call you nigger, you got to fight them. If you don't fight them when they call you nigger, and I find out about it, I'm gonna whip you myself.
And the next time those boys came on Cleveland Avenue yelling,
Nigger, nigger, nigger.
Walter and I lit out after them, and surprise of all surprises, the boys ran.
Yes! They were prepared to call us names, but they weren't prepared to fight.